Welcome back. It's been a few days since the last video. It's now Sunday. Came into the shop after the farmer's market that we were doing. Today's turnout was amazing. There was a ton of people over there, and this is the second event that we did at the farmer's market. If you're not following the channel, we went after the local brewery that runs a farmer's market every Sunday from 10 to 2. And they were doing an Easter egg hunt after the event. There was a ton of people there, and I was getting asked a bunch of questions, and then we had Easter eggs out on the table and stuff. So it'd bring their kids over, and then while the kids picking an egg, strike up a conversation, and a lot of them, didn't really have anything to ask, and I would start pushing them for questions, and then you get this conversation started, and they do have questions, right? And it was just felt really good to help people. And we had some people interested in making appointments, but I was not really set up. We were so busy. I didn't want to take the time to put appointments on the schedule, which maybe that's a mistake, but that's not what the goal of that event is for us. Well, for me, I just literally want to just give some help and guidance on some of their problems and whatever. And it felt really good. Met some really good people over there. Definitely, like, the clientele over there for the most part is better than just some randos calling you off of a Google ad, right? So even if they don't turn into appointments, that's okay. That's not, again, that wasn't what the focus of the day was. So then Friday, we had that Shenanigans live event for ASTA, and it was a small turnout. We were so busy last week that I couldn't go around and pass out flyers and talk to other shop owners. I did stop for 2 days. I went around for a little bit just to try to drum up some locals that aren't part of the ASTA, ASTA organization. And a lot of people in the area, they're just not interested, and they just want to do their own thing, which is okay. It all depends on what your goals are. But unfortunately, a lot of people, like myself included, before I found out about these things, they just think that they're just doing their own thing because that's what they think is the right thing. And maybe it is the right thing for them, but without having any kind of guidance or coaching or anything, there's a whole nother world out there to be able to help and build relationships and that kind of stuff. So that's really what the focus of the live Shenanigans was. I had a friend of mine come up and from Kentucky, and he brought me a bunch of parts for an old Jetta that I'm working on. And he brought up a metal cabinet from, it looks like the 50s. It almost looks like a refrigerator. And I'll show it to you. It's pretty cool. And, my waiting area, I'm really proud of this. But, in case that was left over from the previous owner when he died. But this is the cabinet that he ended up getting me. And it really fits the idea of the shop. And I had a wiper blade cabinet here, and that thing was terrible. So now we have all the wipers put away in a way better display because it just didn't fit the idea of what the shop was. But this is my waiting area. When I first moved in here, this was all white cinder block with surface mounted conduit. There was cardboard over top of the service window, and it looked like a prison. It was terrible. So everything that we have in here kind of is supposed to be here, I do want to get a display case for some of this, like about a 6-inch glass display case for just kind of showing what a worn spark plug, bad timing belt, serpentine belt, and dirty filters look like. But if I get some random tools and that kind of stuff at flea markets and things like that, I like to try to put them out here. And then old Chilton's manuals that were in the shop before, and they were getting tossed, and I wanted to keep those and just kind of put them up here. My buddy ended up picking up an old Meineke display, and that was kind of cool. And then the wife surprised me. She ended up taking some nice pictures. This is my M10 engine out of the BMW, and then this is one of the shop that's like when we were working and really clean. And then we have a few others that she took. But yeah, so this is what that looks like. I'm pretty happy with that display case for the wiper blades now. And so it came out, and then Saturday We came in and we busted out a couple jobs. He helped me get a few cars done. There was the condenser in the Raptor and a brake fluid service, and then that AFM truck, it had to go. My tech spent 3 days on that thing, and I cannot afford to have that thing sit here again into next week. We got a full schedule again. And that truck was the difference really of having profit or not. Because without it, tech was sitting at, I think, less than 40 hours, and it's just, it had to get done. And we did get it done. And I can tell you, we'll show the numbers. We finally had some profit, especially after last week when we probably ended in the red a little bit. So this kind of balances out a little bit. But he didn't start that truck really until Monday. So I really wouldn't consider that too much of a carryover, except for the diag that was done, which was just some test driving and then removal of the valve cover to check the lifter. So, he came in to help out, and that's really what the community kind of does for each other, right? This is the guy I would consider him my best friend at this point, and we met at ASTA in 2023. So that was really good. And then he was down here. We took him out to dinner Saturday after busting out those cars, and we went out for drinks, and it was just a good time. And we called it early because we had to get up early today to go do the other stuff at the farmers market. So that was pretty neat. And this my friend that came out today, or yesterday, and Friday, he's the shop owner out in Kentucky. If any of my followers are technicians and looking for a shop, he's in Louisville, Kentucky, and he needs another high-skilled technician. So if you're looking for a shop that wants to take care of you and believes in training, and he's currently working a 4-day work week, but that may change into a 5-day, you hit him up, right? Or hit me up and I'll put you in touch with him. But I went out to see him last year, or it was last year, and helped him for 2 weeks trying to get some of his processes down and help him out. At the time, I just fired my second technician, and I was here with one tech, and I had an advisor. The machine was working well, and I was able to go away for 2 weeks, and we were still making money in here. So now it just kind of like everything kind of just went sideways, it seems. But so let me go over the numbers with you and show you where we kind of ended for the week here. Oh. All right. So you can see for this week we ended up at 27,000 in sales, with the gross profit number being at 66% and parts GP at 62.9, which is typically higher than target. Maintained my 30% tire GP, and we had no comebacks. You can see the hours produced between the two of us ended up being 92 hours. So that equates out to $18,000 in gross profit. My weekly nut is about about 8,000. So we put $10,000 in the bank. Compared to last week, we put no money in the bank. So for the month, right now we have, I think, 3 working days left in the month. We have 2 working days left in the month. We're sitting at 76,000. For one technician, those numbers are pretty good. I'm pretty happy overall. We had 3 really good weeks and 1 kind of bad one. So hopefully we can knock out some work tomorrow and then kind of go from there. The schedule for tomorrow, we have 4 cars coming in here. A trans eval, we have a trans fluid service, and we're going to do some axles. Well, actually, they're not axles, they're control arms. It's not written properly. And then we have a eval for a Buick Enclave. So let's talk about 2 things. The Subaru Crosstrek, it's written up as axles, but it's actually control arms. So this Crosstrek has a lift kit on it. And, I talked before about customer supplied parts. And unless these weird situations. And this is one of those weird situations where he has custom control arms to put on it. And, I don't feel like dealing with trying to find them. He already has them. We're going to put them on, and we're going to do an alignment for him. He completely understands the warranty aspect of it. Whether or not that holds up in court, if there's a problem, you just don't know. And a lot of these people that talk about customer supply parts like I do, where it's a super big negative, they said that there's lawsuits out there that happen from doing that. And even though there's no warranty written on the paper and they agree to it and sign off on it, there are judges out there will say, nope, you're the professional, you should have known better. So another reason why we don't want to do it. But I'm still taking that chance. I think that this is a pretty good customer. They are quality parts. It's not junk. We're going to make sure it's done right and that kind of thing. So we're going to do that. So I'm not always 100% opposed to customer supplied parts, but maybe I should be, but so that's like the one thing. The other thing that I want to talk about is the working interview tomorrow. I told you before that I'm, bad at hiring, and I'm trying to find out how to hire better. I've learned that I want to hire character and who they are first, but they have to be competent at the job. And it seems like when I hired people that are good people, the last two that I've, basically gave job offers to or jobs, they were not competent. And that's the other thing too, is that what is competent, right? If you're, if I'm hiring a technician, do I really, do I have too high of expectations to where, oh, you can't fix that? Like, you should be able to fix everything I give you. That's just not true, right? And I don't know how to balance that out to where I can give the right work and play to the strengths. When you only have a small team, how much playing to the strengths can you do? And that's something I have to figure out because I don't know how to do that. Obviously, I don't want to give a BMW check engine light to a Honda technician right off the bat. That doesn't make sense. That's not good for anybody. He's going to get frustrated. I'm going to get frustrated. It's not going to be a good fit, right? But how do you ease someone into that role, with more training and, we have service information. I'm not worried about that. But, that's I don't know how to do that. And, I don't consider myself a master technician. And most people out there probably shouldn't consider themselves a master technician either. But, I'm good. I'm not, stupid. My other technician is pretty darn good. He's better at certain things than I am, and I'm better at certain things that he is, and I think we can complement each other. But when you have someone that is kind of new with only 4 years in the industry, you can't expect him to be able to fix everything. And just like my buddy Justin Allen said, everyone has limitations. Well, I get that, and I have limitations too. So I have to figure out how to make that work. If I hire the right person, character-wise, how do you get them to be the good technician? Because, I don't know. Did I hire bad people or bad hires to where they're not competent? Or did I not find the good in them? And that's something I'm struggling with because I don't know the answer. So I have 3 options, well, 4-ish, to do this working interview tomorrow. Now, we don't work on the old stuff, right? But I have, I posted this up in the ASOG group, and I'm getting drugged pretty hard right now. But again, I believe in transparency. The options are, I have a 95 Chevy truck that we don't really work on here in the shop that I need to sell, okay? So it has 4 or 5 complaints on it that need to be addressed. The AC doesn't work. The car pulls to the left when you hit the brake. The blower motor is intermittently not working, or the blend doors don't work properly, and the intermittent wipers aren't working. So yeah, at first glance, it's why would you want him to work on a 95 truck if you don't work on 95 trucks? Well, one, in my head, I'm it's the easiest, right? It's a standard air conditioning problem. It's a 2-wire window motor. It's an alignment check, which he has experience in all of this. There could be a possible brake problem. It feels like there's a suspension component loose because it darts left for like a split second, and it straightens out. So it's not like a dragging caliper. At least I don't think so. So it's like just normal standard stuff. You have, I think 5 concerns. You're going to have a minimum of 5 hours to work on that car. And really, it's a gauge of their approach, right? I'm not expecting you to fix all this stuff, so it's like, at first glance, it sounds dumb to bring in a 95 truck, but a lot of these people in the group, I think that they're just like, that's a stupid idea because they're not thinking through it, right? So maybe I'm wrong and they're right. It's 100% possible. I'm asking for opinions. The other option I had was some piece of junk. I'll show it to you. It's getting dark right now, but I'll show it to you. No, this is a car that I would never bring into the shop. And the reason it's here is because they're already, like, they're a member of the farmer's market, same as us. And you really can't see it too much. We'll see how well this shows up. And they just want to get this thing operable. See how this works. So they just want to get this operable and pull it on and off the trailer. It's a 2009 Tri-Fun. It's a 4-cylinder fuel-injected car. It seems to has an extremely hard cold start, like bad. And obviously there's no service information, and has an intermittent no crank. So like, I would really, for that one, it's just to see what their approach is. Like, how would you go about doing this? No, I don't expect it to get fixed. And to be honest with you, the goal when we set expectations, we're gonna make it run. I'm not gonna turn around and make that thing perfect, add OBD2 compliance or whatever the case is. We're not doing any of that stuff, right? It's just having the correct expectations set up front, which is why it's here. And I already told them the only reason it's here is because you're a fellow vendor. So that was like the second car. That one's really like far down on my list. It doesn't really that's like kind of a terrible idea. Now, if he was like being hired as a very strong diagnostician, then maybe that is the right car. I don't know. The other option I had was a loaner car that has to come in, just a normal car that we would typically work on, and that could be written up and then done that way to where I'm limiting myself, like, for liability working on a customer's car, because the last time I did that, it didn't turn out well. Even though I QC'd them, I still missed stuff. So the other option is a customer's car. We have 4 cars coming in tomorrow. We can easily work side by side, and that's probably the smartest thing to do, right? Work side by side so I know that the job's getting done correctly, and just kind of let him go at his own pace and point him to the tools, point him to service information, log him in, and just see what he does. And that's probably what I need to do tomorrow. The 95 truck is nice to be able to do that with, but there's other people are probably right. But yeah, so tell me your thoughts on some of that stuff, right? But yeah, finally, we got some freaking profit. It was hard. Technician made a significant bonus this week, which rightfully so he should. So he's going to be happy with that. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the entire job done. I had to come in yesterday to finish up like 2 of the things that were on it. And, that was partially our fault in the front for not having some of the parts here, the wrong parts. Some of it was parts catalog error, and then some of it's just his ability to move faster, and I'm definitely not saying that it's on him to move faster. Like, he hustled and he knew that we were trying to get it done, and it was close, but I still had about 3 hours worth of work to do on Saturday that turned into like 5 to get it completely finished up. But we did get it done, and if he would have been able to complete that, he would have got even more of a bonus because it would have put him over the 60-hour mark. So I talked to you before about it. Like, we have a strong hourly rate, and then their rate changes every 5 hours produced. It gives them the higher bump in pay. So, but that's okay. So finally, we're winning, right? I'm tired. And now I got to figure out how to write up these tickets for tomorrow. So we're starting off strong and organized. So I'll let you guys know tomorrow how this working interview went. All right, later.